Give everyone a little status update. We are currently still waiting for the rain to stop. Weather says 45 minutes, 40 minutes. Currently 6:30 in the morning. Started raining really hard on the way here, and that was not expected or on the forecast. So I'll see you guys back in a little bit. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we have Beerus here with us, just getting ready for a morning session. We were planning on doing bigger baits, but I think we're gonna do hover strolling today so we could show how to stroll from the shore. So I'm thinking, since today how much rain do you think we got right now?
Well, a lot.
Yeah, right? It was flooding.
The water level is high by 2 feet.
You think 2 feet?
Yeah.
So I brought two. Well, I brought 3 rods, but I think we're gonna use 2 rods, Mooney. The first one's one of our secret weapons that last time I checked we had some in. This is one of them. So let's try out the wheelhead and the shad tail. That's probably my favorite color right there, the bluegill. Yeah, so nice. But this one for the open water, I mean, we've got so much rain right now that they're probably gonna be scattered out. This is gonna be my longer open water setup. The leader is for this one I'm using 8-pound, and we've hooked into some big ones here, and it's been sometimes a little scary. Yeah, and this is gonna be the 2-inch with the little ball head on there. That's the VJ-77. I'll put it on the screen. I'll put it on the screen. It's the one with the guard on it. There's floating debris all the time on this lake, so this is probably the best rod that I've ever had. The Handcraft Melt. It has a solid tip on it. It's just made perfectly for this bait. As soon as you got these in, I told you right away, yeah, I want one. It is, yeah. And then we're trying out this Luvius, the 2500. But yeah, this is the Avani. This is the #1 line that we have, period, I've ever tried. It's a 4-strand, and it's a little coarse, but you don't hear it through the guides. It's very thin. It's the best line that I've ever used, period. It's a little pricey. That's why we're testing different lines to see how and why, but this has beat every line that we've tested, so we're gonna continue to use that Avani Light Game Super. Yeah, right? Yeah. The best line I've ever used. As soon as you showed me this line, yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But yeah, let's go fish. So you see, I wanna pick apart this little corner here where it's all dirty and messy. I wish it wouldn't have rained as much, but that should be fine. We get this question a bunch, and this is why we're making this video, is how do you use this from the shore, right? With no forward facing and anything like that. We use it like if it's a normal moving bait, right? It's just so much more finesse. So we see these weed lines here. Yeah, when you catch a fish and they dig in there, I mean, you're kind of, you're battling them. But for the most part, we get them in, they go out to the open, we could get them in through an opening. Using this bait is very key for us now to break apart a new lake. This lake is not huge, but it does have big fish. So with this bait, we can literally walk the shore and just use it like if you were using a chatterbait, like if you were using a swim jig, like if you were using any type of moving bait. It's just a little bit slower and a way more finesse. So let's get to going. Let's get to fishing. So as soon as I'm casting out, the first thing that I'm trying is I'm not gonna really let it sink down too much because I don't know what's under there, right? I'll start to slow, oh, there it is. Yeah, see? Very healthy. Look at that.
What did you fish?
So, like I was saying before this fish interrupted, I don't like to let it sit too much, Mooney, because I never know what's on the bottom, right? So once we get snagged with 6-pound line, you're done. You know what I mean? You're pretty much done. So let's put this fish back. Puppy, you like that one? Once you get snagged, you just don't know if you're gonna get that back up. I start at the top, right? I start at the top. Once it lands, I fish in. I don't need to switch heads. I don't need to put a bigger bait. I don't need to do anything. You taught me, the hover strolling master behind the camera. Just let it sit, you let it fall and then work it from there. So if you want to attack the bottom, you let it hit the bottom and you bring it in from there. You want a mid stroll, you let it sink for a couple seconds, you bring it in. You want it hover strolling. I mean, I wouldn't recommend anything over 0.6 grams for hover strolling, but you want to hover stroll with the 1.3 gram like I am. As soon as it hits the water, you just start bringing it in, you just work it a little bit faster. So right now that Rick just pointed out, because Rick's fishing with us, but he's just on fishing a different section, but he just pointed out that there's millions of half-inch fry in the water. So the way that you showed me to work it is you don't really want to feel much. What you're feeling is the slack to no slack, slack to no slack. That's what I'm feeling. And if it's doing that, I know it's coming in side to side. The one thing that if you look at the Fish Arrow YouTube, he pops it. You know, he really pops it when it comes to the ball heads. But when it comes to just the jig hook and a screw sinker, he's doing more of a light shake. So that's something to consider. You know what I mean? But it's always different. And it's always different. Sometimes they want it. I've noticed when you cast out there and it just falls, you let it sink there for 3 seconds. First couple shakes, they're on it. Sometimes I've noticed you cast out there, as soon as it hits the water, you shake, they're on it. So yeah, it's always different. And that's the reason why I put I got the VJ head with the brush guard on there, because it's so light, it doesn't affect the hookup, but it gets rid of the floating grass, that annoying grass that just always just seems to sit on there. So the other thing that I like to put on there that I didn't talk about is that little, I hope you could see that little plastic keeper on the line tie. Can you see that, Mooney? Eye guard. That's the size small. Again, because we fished here a bunch of times, so we know that there's a lot of weeds in here. That just covers up your line tie and it keeps your line tie vertical, which is really good for strolling. It doesn't let your line ties sit to the side, so then you got your line tie always in the perfect position and stuff like that. Yeah, that's another thing that we use out here. That one bit right off the shore, right? So I'm lightly shaking it, and most of the time you have a cadence, right? I know my cadence. I feel it, you know, it's like beat, right? You're doing the beat. Once the beat gets interrupted by something else, you know, either you're on grass or it's a fish. That one was just a boom. It's during the middle of my cadence. Yeah, and that was closer to the shore. So that could have been a fry garter. That could have been anything. So let's just keep moving and seeing what else we could find out here. So the one thing that I always recommend with these kind of baits is, you know, you really don't want to set the hook. You kind of just want to go from 9 to 12 and just keep it there. You know, don't misunderstand what I meant earlier. You know, it's not a heavy hook. It's just a good wire, small hook that won't bend out with, let's say, 7-pound line. You're gonna break your line before that hook. Again, everything has its place. The Ryugi Vespas, we like that for long cast, you know, because you could hook them when they're really far away. Yeah, but this rod really opened up a lot of possibilities for me when it comes to these 2-inch. I'm thinking about maybe trying 1-inch. Oh, there it is. See, that one was a fry garter, Mooney. That one was eating right at the shore. Oh, that's a nice one. Oh, that's a nice one. Look at that. Another nice one. And that's the beauty of these. Always right on the lip. No. Fish number 2. Let's put him back in the water, puppy. Yeah, they're really tight to the cover. And the other thing I like about using these ball heads, Mooney, is it doesn't mess up your plastic. So that's fish number 2. And if you see my plastic, it still looks brand new. And those weren't small fish, so let's keep going. But now that I'm seeing the pattern, and it seems to be that Rick was spot on. The little fry that are on the shore, they must be blowing them up, because that's the second fish that's right outside this little weed line. They must be there waiting for these little things. So let's keep going. So this bait's been around for 20 years, right, Mooney? Just about. Has there been changes to the bait at all? Yeah. Yeah, Mooney, these are either fry garters or fish that are blowing up on the fry. Oh, this is a bluegill.
Big bluegill.
Look at that. Not lippable, but a big old bluegill. Look at this thing.
Nice size.
Beautiful too. Hey! Trying to catch him? I brought the Shad tail when we need a, like if we needed to get more open water, just because you never know. But like I was asking you, Mooney, so this bait's always been the same from when it came out. I know they had different iterations of it, right? The saltwater, heavy. Do they elastomer? And again, it's been around for 20 years. If it's a staple. I just wish more people would try them. I've noticed that, you know, if there's a little ripple, these baits work really good. But when it's dead calm and you can't catch them on anything else, these baits really shine. Like really, really shine. Let's see if we could catch them on the Shad tail, Mooney. Yeah, see now this rod's 7.6. And it has such a deep bend, but let's see if we could just cover more water faster with this. And the wheel head, I mean, you could retrieve it straight, but I watched a couple videos with them using it, and they shake it. They shake it like if it was not as crazy as Strolling, but they do give it some life. And last year I was tearing them up. Yeah, and this being 7.6, you could really use it like if you were doing like a hair jig or something like that, you know, like a spy bait, you know, get those really long casts. I was worried coming here that we weren't gonna be able to do anything, you know, because I only brought, like I said, my BFS stuff and 2 spinning rods. It looks like the plan's gonna be to stick with the little ball head on the light rod. They're in inches of water. Yeah, so that's a lot of bluegill, huh? The water is cold though. You think the temperature of the bass drops that fast? Yeah, so I'm happy we caught some because I thought it was gonna be, like I said, shut down. Yeah, they're right where we're filming. That's where they're at. They're just waiting for these things to pass by. Little guy. Nothing big. Come on, Papa. Last year I really did really good on the 3-inch, but this year downsizing just really played a huge part in my fishing. It seems like it's been all year the same. I'm so glad that we just got the restocks because we were getting low. It seems like more and more people are having confidence in the smaller baits now. You know, even with BFS stuff, not just hover strolling in general, but it seems like smaller Texas rigs, smaller jigs, smaller top waters. You know, it seems to be just a trend overall for these pressured fish. You know, after COVID, everything got really pressured. You know, I'm happy to see it. It's the baits that we use. It's the baits that we have confidence in. So we always like that people have fun when they fish, you know, catching fish and stuff like that. So, and they don't necessarily have to go out and buy a $100 swim bait to do so. Yeah. See, and that one was more in open water over here because they don't look big. They don't look like anything special. For driving an hour in a thunderstorm, I'll take anything. But I think one of the key things though, Mooney, when it comes to the 2-inch ones and anything else, is having that right line. Yeah, when it comes to landing them, yeah, you definitely need the right equipment, you know? Makes life so much easier and it lets you have so much more fun. I think probably the only downside to hover strolling or strolling in general is the fact that you're gonna catch everything because these fish, they just can't resist it, especially the 2-inch size. I think that's the only downfall is that you could really go through these baits really fast if it's a good day. But I think where they shine and where we've noticed that we keep them in our tackle boxes when you can't catch any fish. When you can't catch any fish, this will give you something. There he is. Yep, that's the one. That's the one. Oh! And you see, and these are the fights that we're talking about, Mooney, where they just come out to you, you know? You just gotta make sure you have, you know, you keep pressure. Oh! Get back, Papa. Get back. Woo! Look at that. No, it's right there. The bait just came out right at the shore. Look at that. You know, we'll end it on that fish. We're gonna continue to catch them on this thing, but we just wanted to showcase the power of this. So any fish that we saw visually blow up on these little fry, we got them. We just have to present this right to them. Again, this is that 2-inch flash jig with the pintail. The split tail works really good too, but as Mooney was mentioning it to me when we were in the warehouse, is the split tail just doesn't have much of a belly on it. So Mooney Nori prefers the pintail, but I'm gonna try the split tail with the ball head and see if maybe that works better. We're always testing, we're always trying. I'm gonna continue to say this, the right line, the right weight, and the right leader, and everything together is what makes this technique extremely fun and extremely effective. We barely miss them, we're always hooking them, and we're always catching them. So please make sure to check out our website, make sure to subscribe, make sure to check all of our social media. Munenori is extremely present on his Instagram, so ask him any questions. Please make sure to follow us, and thank you.